Hi, my name is REIJI Morris, and I'd like to read a small sample of my translation of Kotomi's solo dance. The book will be published in 2022 with World Editions, and this is from the beginning of the book. Death. Dying. She looked through the office window, down at the glimmering neon cityscape below, as she repeated these words, letting them roll over her tongue. The words felt good on her lips, their sound gentler than the whispering breeze, softer than any carpet in her dreams. She didn't have a strong inclination towards death, but she had no attachment to living either. While she still had breath in her lungs, she would do her best in life. Yet should it ever reach that point where it was no longer bearable, she would choose death without hesitation. It wasn't clear to her whether this particular way of thinking was strange or not. Maybe everyone had the exact same thoughts, but just didn't voice them. Take the masses of ant-sized people in the city below. Just how many of them were heading now to their deaths? One heading to fling themselves from a nearby skyscraper, another on their way to leap in front of a passing train, or one about to get caught in a horrific traffic accident on the way to a fancy restaurant to celebrate their wedding anniversary. In her opinion, life itself amounted to nothing more than pure chance. Why can't the human race just hurry up and wipe itself out? She remembered those words she had let slip only yesterday. When speaking Japanese, she wasn't always able to control her mouth and was prone to accidentally voicing her true thoughts. It was during lunch in the company cafeteria where Okabe was happily conversing and debating with her and her fellow colleagues. Okabe, 2 years her senior and a Tokyo University graduate, was tall and slender, with glasses that made his eyes pop like a lemur's. He was intelligent and was well regarded in their department for his mathematical brain. The conversation had found its way to the subject of money. Apparently, Japan had accrued a national debt that was twice the country's GDP, and with the yen weakening towards an unprecedented low, he was suggesting that it was worth judging investments in dollar terms. Her co-workers were listening intently, but she let Okabe's words just wash over her. She was 27, and this real-world conversation shouldn't feel so remote, but she couldn't force herself to get interested. There was an insurmountable wall that prevented her from fully engaging with it. All this talk of a decade from now, 2 decades from now, seemed like the distant future, hundreds, if not thousands of years away. A world in which her existence wouldn't make any difference. That was the true representation of her feelings. Okabe went on at an unfalteringly quick pace. A nation would sacrifice its own inhabitants in order to prevent the possibility of ruination. Just think of the war, he said. To pay its debts, the government drained the people of all their financial worth. Although Japan is poor, there are still many who are rich. It was that moment the words slipped out from her lips. Why can't the human race just hurry up and wipe itself out? She realized her mistake too late, but Okabe had simply glanced at her before saying, "Good question." Not a moment later, the clock announced the end of their lunch break and she breathed a sigh of relief. It was a childish and thoughtless remark, but at the same time, it was also what she felt. Death leads all of life to an equal end, heals all wounds without bias. It would be a lie to say a small part of her didn't agree with that. Maybe her way of thinking was in the minority. After all, it was true that she couldn't speak easily of the future the way her colleagues did. Thank you for listening.